When you're in government, I'm always curious, when you're in government and after campaigning so vigorously, you make all these bold promises in opposition, you come into government and you hear people on television assess you the way they have, sometimes very harshly. Media picks up on that. I wonder how you feel, how you take that.
A couple of things. I think, let me say good evening to your viewers who definitely are expecting these opportunities and they deserve them. But a couple of things. Clearly, we must situate promises in the context not of quantitative, the numbers only, but in the long-term vision to transform so that everybody has access over time to these opportunities on a sustainable basis. Now, one of the difficulties of our political process is that on the outside, you don't even have access to the internal workings of the economy to realize the real opportunities you have, whether or not there's a fiscal space to do the things you say you're going to do. That's one. Two, we are underestimating the impact of the transition and the immediate short-term things that you come up with. If you promise things that you're going to do, the assumption is that you come in immediately and it all gets done on a global scale. 100% water across the country, all the roads are fixed and all that. But this is a 62-year-old country. We are still battling with some very basic deficits. That's not to say that a government is not responsible for what it promises to deliver to the people. But we must, as a government, having come in, look at, first of all, the sequencing. Not everything can be done at once. The resource envelope, and then the transition. There's a transition period where you have to take charge of the resources you have in the country, take charge of the people and institutions, assess the policies you've come to meet, the projects you want to continue, and those you want to put in yourself. Get all this going against the immediate backdrop of the things that you come here, you have to deal with immediately, which is the economy. So you arrive and you have an economy where the fundamentals are all plunging in the wrong direction. Immediately, you have no option but to deal with that. Even if you jettison all your promises and deal with that, because your promises are founded on a healthy economy. Without the economy, there's little you can do. So you are immediately confronted by the need to resolve the economic situation. So for us, we come in and we find that we are in the IMF, we have a debt overhang, we have literally a epic lower middle income country, all the fundamentals in the wrong direction. There's road arrears and energy sector arrears weighing down the financial sector. There's no fiscal space at all, literally broke, as it were. You now have to struggle. And whilst you're broke and the IMF is in, there are strictures, there are conditionalities, some of which militate against your own promises. Because you need fiscal space to invest in your promises, which you don't have. Because the IMF says, you can't do this as long as I'm here directing what you must do in order to get healthy again. So in 2.5 years, we are able to get the IMF to accept that we've restored the overall macro framework. And in that period, which means that we've brought down the debt overhang, we've had to manage the debt process. It means that we've settled a significant part of the arrears that we came to meet. It means that we've managed to resolve the energy debt, which was weighing this country down tremendously, with doomsaw and all those other things. We now have the lights going on. And even whilst doing that, ideally, technically, no government ought to have been able to even touch any of its promises, because this is a tall order already. But even in that period, we've also managed to put down some of our flagship promises. We've managed at the same time to create fiscal space to run free SHS, which is a major development for this country, socially inclusive, knowledge economy being built towards the future. We managed to deliver 1D, 1F, not 250 districts. But like I said, it's an incremental process. We have started, it will grow, it will sequence, it will prioritize, and we're going forward. So we are heading towards 100 factories, and we are getting there. We've managed to achieve some level of employment, in spite of the IMF being on our neck. In the health sector, we need to get about 54,000 people in onto the public payroll. We managed to get about 100,000 graduates into NAPCO on the public payroll. all other institutions combined and otherwise about another 340,000. You have YEA, you have the forestry, and then, of course, planting for food and jobs, 1.5 million people out there in the countryside enjoying access to those opportunities. And then we have also made some far-reaching legal and institutional changes, particularly to do with the financial sector. We've managed to fight and restore stability to the financial sector. This is a legacy problem that was crippling the economy as far back as 2014. As far back as 2014, the government and the IMF knew that 9 banks were in dire danger. They were literally dead on their feet. We came in, confronted that, and as we sit here today, notwithstanding the short-term difficulties, we've saved millions of depositors' funds. We've consolidated some of the banks. We've essentially restored the financial sector back to health. And in doing so, we've also managed to restore some stability to public expenditure management. Delivered, like I said, the legal environment. We've delivered regulations on public financial management. Now you have to operate within the rules, including the finance minister. You have to operate within the rules, otherwise you are off. We've managed to deliver the several years old companies code, which was stuck in Parliament. It's finally been done. We've managed to deliver the Insolvency Act as well. A few other things have been tweaked in the financial area. We have the Financial Stability Council now. We have passed legislation to limit the deficit in any financial year to 5%. That is major. We, the government, have restricted ourselves from borrowing. And you can imagine the temptation. We are going into election year. Everybody is screaming for rules. Dear Narado is asking for water here and there. We should be running around pumping money into the system to get all these things. We are saying no. For the long-term stability of the financial system, in order to ensure that the fundamentals point in the right direction all the time, as we're doing, have our trade balances in the right place, manage inflation well and all that, we are limiting ourselves to 5% of GDP for a deficit at any time.